the new Mobb Deep sound like. Come on, man.
They say you should make friends a little more, but I sort of like you, pretty.
Salute, salute, family. Enoch Bird, salute, all the way from New York. Salute, salute, salute. Peace to the family, peace to my comrades. Family, it is almost fight day. Hold on, y'all. Mobb Deep dropping some new music. Let's see what this sound like. Dropping an album. Let's see.
Stronger than ever.
Ooh.
I'm back, nigga. Yeah, yeah.
Just in time. Just in time for the fall.
It's just one crumb on the map, one crumb in the lot.
Prodigy.
With that piece, I'm gonna need that pie to satisfy my thirst.
Woo.
Satisfy my greed for blood, money, and power.
Get the charge.
Me to a monster, addicted to winning screen. You had one hit in your life, 1 second of fame. One of you niggas act up, everybody pays. All of you niggas back up, or I'ma start spraying. It's the ring around the Rodian. Pocket full of old man, ashes to ashes. All my fallen soldiers from my
Come on.
bring my gun, bring my blade, kills niggas on contact. Just like
Come on.
can't find me, I'm MIA, out in MIA, drinking wet willies. This is global dominance. You on some block shit, I'm in the UK, turning apples to oranges. Deep against the world.
Mobb Deep against the world. I like that. Hey, Mobb Deep against the world.
I got machines too, nigga, big one.
Enoch Bird said, great meeting you and talking with you on the panel the other day about Bud and Kellerman and our people as a whole. All love, peace, salute. Salute to you, family. Enoch Bird in the house. Enoch Bird in the house. Good talking to you too, family. Woo. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get that. I'm gonna have to go get that new Mobb Deep. Let me see. All right, family. So we have one more day until it is fight day. People are choosing who they are picking. What are y'all talking about? But I want to pull up something that a lot of people missed at the press conference. Now everybody's talking about the fight, but there's things that I like to point out. If we do not notice, there is a changing of the guard about to happen. And a lot of people missed it because they were so focused on Canelo and Crawford. Now, I'm gonna tell you all who you need to watch. Dana White. Dana White is about to do some things, and Turkey thinks that he has control over Dana, and he's about to find out he has no control at all. Some might be saying, Coach, what are you talking about? If you all watch the end of the press conference, Turkey says, hey, Dana White has a huge announcement he's about to make. Dana White looks at Turkey and says, yeah, so like I was saying to the crowd, we're gonna go ahead and do the face-off. And Turkey looks at Dana like, hey man, hey bro, what's going on? Right? Then there's another interview with Dana that was done a few months ago. And Dana White was asked, well, you know, are you and Turkey on the same page? Are you and Turkey Al-Sheikh on the same page? Dana says, well, we have an agreement, but our motives for the sport of boxing is going to be completely different. Now, I told you all, matter of fact, I remember what he said. I don't even have to pull it up. I told you all, when Dana White gets into the sport of boxing, he is not in the business of losing money. Say what you want to say about Dana White. Okay? Sure, he does not pay his fighters maybe what you all think they should get paid. Cool. But when it comes to being a businessman, he's running circles around a lot of these boxing talking heads, a lot of these so-called promoters, a lot of these so-called businessmen. Now, let me show you what's about to happen and why I say it's about to happen. Now, why were there MMA reporters allowed into the media conference? I forget what it's called. The Champside calls it something. It's a gathering of the media, the press, and they're allowed to ask these questions, right? So I'm sitting here watching, and I'm sure this went over a lot of people's heads, but you all have to start paying attention sometimes to the things that's happening around the sport to let you know where we're headed. Some of you are going to like this. Some of you are not going to like this. I'm looking into the crowd, and I'm noticing that a lot of the UFC reporters are in the crowd asking Terrence Crawford MMA questions, asking him about MMA, asking him about bare knuckle fighting, asking him about the things that Dana White promotes. Now, some of you are going to say, well, Coach, Dana White plays a big part and he's promoting the fight, so of course they're going to be there. Here's the issue. And Champside spoke about this yesterday. Independent boxing journalists are not being allowed into these events. The leadership under Turkey, who is doing the vetting in America, they're deciding who can come to these events and who can't. There are a lot of accredited journalists with the know-how, people who have gotten rewarded, people who have gotten awards over time for their journalism are not being allowed into the event. They already have picked their favorites. They already, look who the Ring magazine has doing the interview on their YouTube channel. You have Mike Coppinger, Ryan Garcia, Max Kellerman, and whatever the dude name is that used to play ball, that just, shucks and jives and goes along. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, now, independent boxing journalists are having issues getting into the event, getting these interviews that are going to be legendary. At the same time, Dana White is making sure that his people are in place. Y'all don't get it. Don't get mad at Coach. I'm just telling you all what's about to happen. Y'all got mad at me last year when I told you, when they were trying to change and alter the Muhammad Ali Act. When Dana White said he was getting into boxing, you all got pissed at me and told me, Coach, it's not going to happen. When I told you that Tank Davis or an elite fighter will start going towards exhibitions because you're getting high reward for low risk, y'all got mad at me. You said, Coach, that's not going to happen, etc., etc. Now, I don't know who this is, but I'm going to tell you this, family. I don't speak Arabic, so I don't know what you're saying. But peace and blessings to you if it's good. If it's not, you're out of here. Now, Matter of fact, family, I don't want to be interrupted while we're cooking. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on subscribers only because we got to get this off. All right, so we're going to go to subscribers only. Sorry we had to do that, family, but every time we get to cooking, you know, people start coming in talking about a whole lot of nothing. Now, let's use our critical thinking skills. How do we do a hostile takeover without the boxing public being acknowledged? Without the boxing public knowing what's going on? I'm going to tell you how. We are going to put people in place during huge events. Some of y'all are not hearing what I'm saying. We're going to put people in place doing huge events where the boxing public is so distracted, they won't even realize we're doing it. Now, let's go back. I need you all to start doing the math in your head. Put 1 + 1 together so you can get 2. What do you mean, coach? Well, think about it. Turkey is trying to control everything. The problem is he's not in America enough and does not know the American combat fan the way a Dana White does. So what Turkey is doing is, Turkey is having liaisons. Put these people in place. But these liaisons are not good for the sport. Why would you go, think about this, family. Think about this for a second. If we have one of the biggest events of any sports, let's think about it for you football fans, you basketball fans, for those of you that love the sport of boxing, let's think like this. If we have a big event on, who do we have in front of the camera before the event? Before the Super Bowl happens. All right, let's think now, family. Before the Super Bowl happens, who do they usually have during interviews? Who do they usually have in front of the camera a week before, 2 weeks before, leading all the way up before the Super Bowl? They have the greats that came before the present day. But you all went and got Ryan Garcia, Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger to do the Ring Magazine YouTube channel interview. All right. Then it's coming out that people who have been in the sport 20 years, 15 years, known journalists are having issues getting their press passes. You all don't see what's about to happen. Why do we have reporters asking Terrence Crawford and Canelo MMA questions? All right, so some of you think that I'm just making up this stuff. So let's go to the interview. I'm going to tell you exactly what Dana White said. Because Dana White said that basically boxing is doing horrible, even though he's promoting one of our biggest fights. Look, think about that, family. Think about it. Dana White coming into the sport is promoting one of the biggest fights in the sport, his second time in the sport. The first time he was helping Conor McGregor fight Floyd, probably the biggest boxing exhibition that we had in boxing history until Jake Paul boxed against Mike Tyson. Now, family, I need you to listen to understand, not so much listen to respond. Soak in the information I'm giving you so you have time to process and think about what I'm saying for those of you who love the sport. Dana White, boxing should be ran like the NFL. So I wanted to pull it up to get the exact quote so that you all don't think that I'm lying. It says, Dana White has repeatedly said that boxing should be run more like the NFL, and he is attempting to make changes through his new promotion, Zuffa Boxing. White agrees White argues that boxing is a busted sport due to its fragmented structure with multiple competing promoters and governing bodies. He points to the UFC, which he helped grow into an NFL or NBA type league, as a model for how boxing could be organized and become more popular. Now, let me tell y'all, I don't take it to the heart, family. I don't take it to the heart when y'all get mad at me. I don't take it to the heart when you all say, Coach, it's not gonna happen. Boxing has been around for 100 years, blah, 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 blah. Now, let's do the math. Boxing in America, as we know it, with huge gates, has been around since the early 1900s. And look at the state of boxing that it's in today. What Dana White is saying is, we need to get rid of these promoters who make it hard for the sport. Salute to Queen Tay-Tay. Now, some of y'all aren't gonna like this, but it took Turki Al-Sheikh to get into the sport for Top Rank, Golden Boy, and PBC to say, all right, we have to start working together more, because this Turki dude is about to give us some problems. Now, don't get mad at me. This is what's going on and what's been happening. How many years did we go by hearing this, you on the other side of the street BS? Disgusting. So Turki comes into the sport. Dana White comes into the sport. We're getting bigger fights. But Dana White says boxing is a busted sport. That is what he said. Dana White said that boxing is a busted sport. So Dana White is telling you what his mission is. Now, I tried to tell y'all, I said, family, if you like the sport of boxing and our fighters do not fight the best, a man like Dana White has the experience, has the know-how to promote the sport and take it over. Some of you got pissed at me and said, Coach, that would never happen. It's because you all don't understand business. And I'm not, listen, when I say you don't understand something, that doesn't mean that I think I'm smarter than you as a whole. What I'm saying is, I see something as someone who's been an entrepreneur for a long period of time, who has kept up with the way Dana White moves, etc. In business, the first thing you learn about is what? Organizational structure. Business class 101, organizational structure. One of the first projects you're gonna do in business school, or a decent business school, is you're gonna do a project. And in that project, you're gonna have two competing companies. And in those two companies, you're gonna have to decide why this company beat this company in the same field. So my first project was Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes. At the time, there was a chicken war going on. And in my project, I was able to break down to the class that logistically, Chick-fil-A would beat Popeyes. Not because their spicy chicken sandwich was better, because they had the logistics to close their stores nationally every Sunday, re-up, and keep the line moving. You have people at Popeyes at the time were getting unalived over this chicken sandwich. The Popeyes franchise was running out of chicken. So, in my honest opinion, and a lot of honest opinions, Popeyes had a better tasting spicy chicken sandwich, but Chick-fil-A was consistent for months. So it got to the point where it was just like, Chick-fil-A won. Because as good as Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich was, the experience. Now family, some of you can write this down or you can bookmark what I'm about to say. I want you all to think about the experience that a person has when they would go to a Popeyes. and they would say, man, I'm about to try this spicy chicken sandwich. They get up to the line, and then they hear, sorry, sir, sorry, ma'am, we no longer have any chicken. What do you mean you don't have any chicken? You know what people didn't hear that though? When they went to Chick-fil-A. Now, some of you might be trying to figure out, Coach, what the hell does this have to do with Dana White as a promoter, Turkey Al Sheik, PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy? What does that have to do? I'm about to put all the dots together for you, family. Check this out. When I say to you, think about a bad experience, that kind of bad experience can make somebody never go to Popeyes again. Then they go over to Chick-fil-A, that's consistent. That's consistent. They know what they're gonna get. Listen, family, people don't always go with what's better for them. They go with what's consistent for them. That's business. That's business. Now, how does that correlate with the sport of boxing? Who remembers the Keyshawn Davis card? The Keyshawn Davis De Los Santos card. People came to see a great fight. People came to see Keyshawn Davis versus De Los Santos. They came to get Popeye's spicy chicken. But they got to the event and found out, sir, ma'am, we're out of chicken. Oh, family. Oh, we got time. Because my brother Drew don't come on till 9:30. We got time. Family, I'm about to teach y'all something. Because this ain't just about a boxing lesson. This is a business lesson. So any of you who are entrepreneurs or you dream of being an entrepreneur, family, I've been doing this a long time. I've worked for myself for a long time. I don't get paid off of YouTube. Huh? I'm about to teach y'all business. I've ran 3 businesses. And some of you think that, I'm not even gonna get into that. But people went to the Keyshawn Davis fight thinking they were going to get spicy chicken. So you know what happens? People invest in something else. People start watching bare knuckle boxing. They start watching the UFC instead. You know why? Because the UFC has been more consistent than the sport of boxing. Don't get mad at me. Don't do it. Don't get mad at me. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Salute Sheldon LDBC or Nothing Reloaded in the house. God bless the mighty LDBC. Now, family, I'm giving y'all a teaching in boxing and I'm giving you all a teaching in business. Family, old people, when they find a place that they like, they stick with it. Out here we have a place called Piccadilly, okay? Old retired people got money, okay? But they know that if they go to the cafeteria Piccadilly, they are going to get consistency. They're going to get the same bland food that doesn't shoot up their blood sugar, and they're going to stick with it. Because life has taught them when they find something good and consistent, they stick with it. Queen Tay-Tay says, facts. Now I'm covering dirty boxing and bare knuckle boxing. See? Why are people watching dirty boxing and bare knuckle boxing over really investing into good boxing matches? You know why? Because boxing is no longer consistent. If you go to a fight in Mexico, you know that you're going to see a fight. You know that you're going to get consistency. Why does the NFL do so good? Because they don't allow mediocrity. They don't allow it. When have we had a lackluster Super Bowl? Think about that, family. When have we had a lackluster Super Bowl? Salute to Stormy B-Man, the sensei is in the house. So some of you are like, well, wait a minute, coach. Are you saying that because Dana White was good at the UFC, he's going to be able to take over the sport of boxing? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is anything that is good and consistent will always overtake something that has spots of greatness. See? So this goes back to the lesson. Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A. Why does Chick-fil-A beat Popeyes in the chicken wars? Because Chick-fil-A is consistent and Popeyes keeps running out of chicken. For those of you that are just coming in, I'm talking about the business of the sport of boxing and the hostile takeover that nobody's paying attention to. Why do we have MMA reporters asking Canelo and Crawford, boy, hey, God is the greatest. God is the greatest. I am not of myself. This is not something I do on my own. God has molded and shaped my mind like this. Family, you ask yourself this question. Why are there MMA reporters asking Canelo and Crawford more questions than boxing reporters? Why are more of them getting press passes than boxing journalists? Think about that. Let that sizzle in your spirit for a second. Let that sizzle in your spirit. I'll tell you why. And some of you are not going to like this. Dana White is a better promoter and businessman in the sport of combat sports than Turki Al-Sheikh is. Turki just has the money. Turki has the money and has the idea that I want to see. You're not going to like this, but I'm going to break this down so simple for you. You will not be able to deny the irrefutable truth that I give you. Turki Al-Sheikh has the money. Turki loves the sport of boxing from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, even the 60s, right? The problem is what a lot of you are not understanding is Dana White has built superstars from the ground up every few years for a sport much younger than the sport of boxing. Boxing has had 100-year head start over the UFC, and the UFC is catching up to the sport of boxing. Now, some of you are going to say, no, because, you know, the boxers make way more money than the UFC fighters. Do they? Do they? The boxing elites' paydays are much better. But let's go back to COVID for a second. Everyone, Dana White doesn't speak on this a lot, which he's humble for because I would be popping my shit. Dana White says, during COVID, every fighter, even if they're not fighting, medical expenses and training is covered by the UFC. Y'all not listening. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying. How many fighters are signed to Golden Boy, Top Rank, PBC, DAZN? Not DAZN. That's the network. Matchroom. How many of them are signed? Word, Shelton. How many of them are signed and don't see a payday until they fight again? Medical expenses are not covered. Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, many of them have tried to come forward and tell y'all, look, this money don't last as long as y'all think because a lot of this stuff we have to pay for ourselves. Y'all not listening. Y'all aren't getting it. Now, on top of that, before Francis Ngannou left the UFC, and Queen Tay, you can help me. There are some things that Francis Ngannou demanded for all UFC fighters to have before he left, which they have now. Let's see. Let's look that up real quick. Because you all think they're on the same playing field, and they're not. UFC fighters, if they are signed with the UFC, are in better shape than a lot of fighters who are signed to one of these promotion companies who are being treated like shit right now. Who haven't seen a good payday in 2 years, but they're signed to them. And the way they make their money is they're having to go to gyms and spar. See, this is what you all aren't being told. The UFC is $1 billion corporation now. $1 billion. Family, I don't think you all understand what's happening. The UFC started in the 90s. So, and the version of the UFC that's today isn't the same version that was around in the early 90s. I'll let Queen Tay go deeper into that on her channel. But what I'm trying to tell you all is a sport that's really only been around, for about 30 years is catching up to a sport that's been in America really longer than 100. Because when the British were in America, for those of you who have seen the series The Underground with the sister Juicy Smouillet's sister. What's her name? Anyway, there's a slave series called The Underground. In that series, there is a house Negro. He's an overseer, but he used to be free. He was a boxer in London during the American Revolutionary War. This is the true story. The true story is he knocked out some British fighters, and they took him over to the UK and started fighting men. So this goes back really to the 1700s. But this version of boxing is about 120, 130 years old, having a head start on the UFC. Now, Shelton LDBC, if you study that, if you go into that, you will find that The Underground, Luke Cage, and Lovecraft Country have some of the same black female writers, and they all were blackballed. But that's a topic for another time. Now, family, with all I just told you, I'm going to ask you this question again. With everything I just told you, I'm going to ask the question again, and your neurons should start firing off. Come on, we getting this work in. Come on. Why were MMA journalists having more pull and rank at a boxing event than boxing journalists? Y'all are being bamboozled in your face. They went and got Max Kellerman's ass to do interviews to make y'all not see what's actually going in the press conferences. Go and listen to what Champside was saying yesterday. Champside was telling y'all, not only was my access denied, but several well-known journalists that have not kissed the ring of Turkey, Al Sheikh, press pass was denied for one of the biggest boxing events that we have had in the last decade. Family, they did. They did. Now I'm gonna show y'all something else. If y'all don't think that it is not calculated that we're allowed into all the black on black so-called urban fights, like they tried to call Errol versus Errol versus Crawford. But then we're having these hard times getting into these other events that aren't so-called urban. If y'all don't see that they're playing in your faces, you need to open your eyes. You need to open your eyes. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I love Crawford did, because he caused chaos in the crowd of the press conference. This is what Bud said. Bud said, he said, shout out to the Latinos in the crowd that's still rocking with me, that's still cheering for me. I know that side over there is still booing me. And when the camera panned over into the crowd, you could see conflict between Latino brothers and sisters in the crowd. Now, if y'all don't think that energy isn't going to combust if they're fighting amongst each other and we there, you all are deeply mistaken. Now, everything that I've told you all has come to pass. I'm not a psychic. I'm not Jesus. But what I do understand very well as an entrepreneur myself, I understand business. I understand businessmen and women. I understand colonization on all levels, whether it's land, whether it's trying to take the talent or the consciousness from your pineal gland. I understand these things through God's grace and divine intervention in the molding of my mind. So the things I have told you has come to pass back to back to back. I'm not even about to go into the things in the sport that has transpired, because y'all know I've talked about it so much. From the wake-up call that all these fighters have gotten in the last year after they win against their brother. I'm not even going to do that today. What I'm going to tell you all is this. While some of us are battling each other and not being on code, this is why the scriptures speak of sin blinding your sight. Blinding your sight. When in the scripture, for those of you, whether you believe or not, just think of it as a parable or allegorical story. When Jesus crosses the path of the blind man, and he's talking to the blind man, and the blind man is saying how he sees men. And they say that Jesus put spittle in his eye and then asked him how he can see. And the blind man said, I see men as they are. It's not talking about, that scripture is not talking about the man couldn't see like that. Jesus put a word in his ear and the man could see different now. So people are trying to help you see. So I was talking to the sensei. Stormy B Man said to me, he started talking to me about the dimensions of a fighter. And while he's talking and he's saying what he's saying, my gland in my consciousness is seeing things that it wasn't seeing before. And I'm starting to connect the dots as me as a coach that would try to get fighters to do a certain thing. And the sensei is talking about the dimensions of a fighter. I'm seeing things I wasn't seeing before. So the Lord asked the blind man, how do you see men now? I see them as they are. So I'm looking into the crowd and I'm seeing how Turkey is telling Dana White, He says to Dana, Dana has a big announcement. Dana White looks at Turkey and basically shrugs him off like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to make that announcement when I'm good and ready. Now let's go back a few months ago. I told y'all, I said it on the General's channel, 78 Sports TV. I said, family, Dana White is not trying to change the Muhammad Ali Act for no reason. I told you all, I said if Dana White is in the sport of boxing, he is not in the sport of boxing to lose money. Hold on, family. What did Francis Ngannou demand for UFC fighters before he left the UFC? Because I'm going to show you all something. Now, watch this, family, because they're getting this. Before he left the UFC, Francis Ngannou demanded the promotion, provide health insurance, and in-cage sponsorship for all fighters, along with an athlete advocate at the negotiating table to assist with fighter contracts. Now, let me show you all this. The only time Dana White has lost in business with fighters is with fighters who were able to go to boxing and make money. Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm good. Let's let that sizzle. Let's let that sizzle. We're going to let that sizzle for a second. Think about what I just said, family. The only time Dana White has lost in business is when a fighter has been able to go over to the sport of boxing and still get made. So now he's in boxing. You think he's going to take any more L's like that? No, because now in those contracts, I bet you he's going to have a boxing clause in there. And it'll probably look something like this. If you do want to box, you got to go through me now. I know y'all don't like that. So now, not only do fighters have someone at the negotiating table, the promotion has to provide health insurance, in-cage sponsorship for all fighters, along with an athlete advocate at the negotiating table. So what's stopping Dana White from going full UFC mode in the sport of boxing? Can anyone answer that question? Can anyone answer that question? What is the only thing stopping Dana White from going full UFC mode in the sport? I'm going to tell you what. It's the Muhammad Ali Act. So Dana White is saying boxing is busted. Boxing is corrupt. The sport is no longer what it used to be. Cash rules everything around me. So you all think that Dana White, with his experience, I'm telling y'all, Dana White is going to run circles around Turkey. Turkey does not have what Dana has. The only thing that Turki Al-Sheikh has over Dana White is just a little bit more money. But see, this is where y'all getting messed up. Let's go back to business. For those of you who started the live with me, earlier we were talking about what Business 101, organizational structure. Business 101 tells you, now this is business like 103. Business 103 tells you, you don't use your own money, you use other people's money. So Turkey Al-Sheikh might have some money, but Dana White has $1 billion corporation that he can leverage. He has a UFC fan base that he can leverage. He has a bare knuckle fan base that he can leverage. And now he has a WWE fan base that he can leverage. Queen Tay-Tay, am I lying? Queen Tay-Tay will tell you, I'm not lying about what I'm telling y'all. See, we've been thinking, because this guy's a billionaire, because Turkey Al-Sheikh's a billionaire, that he won't run into any problems. Family, Al Heyman got plenty money. Al Heyman is on paper, a better promoter than all of them put together. This is a man that promoted one of the greatest music tours with Michael Jackson before social media is what it is today. The problem is when you put people in charge who are disconnected from what a combat fan base wants, it doesn't correlate. So I don't want to talk bad about PBC, but some of y'all know what I'm about to say. There are brothers that would tell you, when we were in the sport, trying to get into certain spaces, there were people who ain't us, who were representing PBC, and some who are us, who treated our people and our journalists very ugly, who were very disrespectful to us, and nice and kissing up to the Ellie setbacks. And y'all keep, I ain't even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it. I ain't even gonna say it. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till these people y'all keep vouching for show you. And when they show you, I'm gonna be here early in the morning telling y'all, see, I keep telling y'all, black asses, stop vouching for them. Stop vouching for them. Because when something goes wrong, they come for us every time. Think about it, family. Think about it. The horrible assassination, the assassination of the man we just saw the other day. Hold on, family. The horrible assassination that we saw the other day. Are they calling PWI institutions and locking them down for threats? No. Eight HBCUs have had to be put on lockdown due to that, even though it had nothing to do with us. Look how they're trying to make an example over Ryan Clark. Now, does anybody notice the pattern in football where anytime one of these old athletes who have become a commentator or a journalist and they call out or say something about Tom Brady, they immediately, without hesitation, try to make an example out of them. You can say whatever you want to say about each other. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. We can argue with each other. We can be ugly with each other. Ray Lewis can drag Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp can drag Ray Lewis during the Colin Kaepernick situation. But as soon as one of you field Negroes start talking crap about our man, Tom Brady, they immediately start dealing with them. Now imagine if the sport of boxing moved that same way. Imagine if journalists and commentators were dealt with when it's clear that they have a bias against the elites in our sport. Imagine how our sport would be protected. but y'all don't see it. So I'm gonna say this, family. It's no longer a matter of being on code, because those of you who have been against it for so long, we're at the consequence part. We're at the part where when we were talking about this years ago, we were saying, hey y'all, if we don't get our shit together in the sport of boxing, if we don't get it together, there are people who are gonna come in and take over. Y'all remember Catman? Y'all remember Catman on Champ side was telling Coach, he said, man, Coach, nah, man, Al got it in the bag. Boxing ain't gonna change. That's y'all damn problem. You all think that because you're complacent, everybody else is. You think that there aren't people sitting on the outside saying, you know what? We can do something with that talent. So I'm about to tell y'all, and I'm gonna land my plane here because I need to get ready for our brother Drew. But I'm gonna tell y'all this. Y'all not gonna like this. Dana White is not only going to run circles around all these other promoters because he knows what the hell he's doing. How do we know he knows what he's doing? Dana White was smart enough to make sure that his people flooded the media conferences to ask questions so that his fan base, the MMA fan base, would follow the sport of boxing. Now, let me show you how our promoters aren't even, they so stupid, man. Look, and they don't know what they're doing. Every promoter should have all of their elite fighters in every camera leading up to the fight and after the fight. If I'm Top Rank and you're one of my elite fighters, hey, look, this is what I want y'all to do. We're gonna have a press conference. We would have had one, not a press conference. We would have had a conference with all my elite fighters that aren't in camp. And I would say, look, y'all, I'm gonna throw y'all a little money to go out to the fight. I want you all to wear Top Rank clothing. I want you all to give interviews. I want you to kiss babies. I want you to do open workouts. Because while this event is going on, they need to see the name Top Rank. They need to be following you all on social media. That is how you build a brand. You don't sit back and say, well, this ain't my event. Our fighters ain't really in it. We're not making the lion's share of this, so let's just chill. Dana White don't move like that. Dana White, let me tell you what Dana White did. Dana White has his journalists with UFC stuff on or press pass on, and you're seeing them everywhere. But y'all think that Dana don't know what he's doing. So I don't care if y'all listen to me or not. When it happens, I'm going to refer back to this video next year and say, remember what I told y'all? Remember? So Dana does not need an elite group of fighters. Why? Why you say that Dana doesn't need an elite group of fighters, Coach? How is he going to promote his own league without the elites? Because Dana White has the experience of building fighters from the ground up. What do you mean, Coach? I will give you all an example. And then I'm going to land my plane here because I know everybody got to go. If I'm Dana White, I would do a series the same way he does The Ultimate Fighter. Who remembers when The Ultimate Fighter first started? Do you all remember that most of those guys from the Ultimate Fighter, you didn't know their names before the Ultimate Fighter, and many of them became household names in combat sports. So what if Dana White goes and gets 30? He go gets 30. 15 men, 15 women. Puts them up in 2 mansions. Does a tournament. Builds drama. Builds beef. All he got to do is go get some Mexican, white and black men and women. Just starting there. He builds drama behind the stories of these fighters. And at the end, guess what, family? At the end of the series, now, each one of these news fighters, follow me, family, each one of these news fighters has a social media following of 1 million, 2 million. You don't think it can happen? Look at all the young people who have all of these new followers from the little Twitch marathon they did, where the young people were dating each other. Y'all didn't know who those young people were. It's a new day and time. Social media, AI. Dana White is about to run. See, y'all are seeing Canelo versus Crawford. I'm now seeing Dana White's hostile takeover versus everybody. I'm gonna land my plane there because I believe I done gave you all enough to think about. Family, it's the day before fight day. Enoch Bird said we was waiting until the end to say, if I search Coach Hudson Boxing, your channel shows up at the top. If Coach Hudson, another Coach Hudson shows up and scrolling down, won't see your channel. Well, that's good. It's showing up at the top for now. All right. Family, it is the day before fight day. The truth tellers, I know, are going to be dropping content today and tomorrow. So this is what I want everyone to do that watches my live. If Drew Titan goes live, Sugar Free Mars, Champ Size, 78 Sports TV, my homie Clarence McClain, Stormy B-Man, the Sensei, my brother Freedom's March, Queen Shower Lot, any of the truth tellers. Hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, I love you. Make sure that you tune in. Make sure you join and you support. All right? You all will see me throughout all of these channels. When the fight does come on, I will be calling it right here at this counter, round by round, point by point. I'll try to follow along with the judges' cards to compare mine to theirs as well. But family, I'm out. I appreciate every single one of you that came and rocked with me. I've given you something to think about. Let that truth spread like wildfire. Peace to the family. Peace to my comrades. And it's always smoke to the COINTELPRO boxing fan. Make certain you check my premiere in 30 minutes. Family, Stormy B-Man is going live in 30 minutes. Make sure that you tune in to his premiere.